I'm HunterX, and today we compact our ores and we also get them processing, because without that, there's no way we're going to be able to make the All the Mods 10 star. So with that being said, let's get to ore processing. One of my current goals right now is to hopefully take all of the things in these chests, for example, like the iron here, and put it into a compacting drawer that's going to go in front of this, and we're going to go ahead and then pull it out to be crushed and then smelted. All the things like iron, gold, all that fun stuff. But to do that, we're gonna need some compacting drawers, and we're also gonna need some drawers because some of those things are not compactable. To get things going here, we're gonna need to go ahead and make some drawers, and oh boy, are they expensive. So the compacting drawers, we're gonna need 19 of them, and we're also gonna need a bunch of these 1x1 drawers, which are incredibly expensive for what they're worth here. But let's go ahead and make that. And I guess the plan here is to hopefully kind of finesse it a little bit, hopefully in a way where I can actually get it to work for us. And yeah, so we're gonna need some iron, we're definitely gonna need some redstone, that's for sure, and I think we're gonna need some stone. Oh, we're definitely gonna need some wood, that's for sure, and maybe some cobblestone, which I do not have. With the drawers crafted, what we're gonna go ahead and do is place down our drawer controller right here in the center, and what we're gonna go ahead and do is line up our compacting drawers on the side like this, and then we're gonna go ahead and line up the other drawers on this side, which is gonna allow us to go ahead and set up our ore processing on this side, which is gonna be really useful. And once we do this, what I'm gonna have to do is basically take these and set them up in a way where everything is going through here. So for example, if I grab, say, the broken iron chunks like so, we can go ahead and put that right in here, and then that's gonna go ahead and make the iron ore that we're then gonna pull out into our ore processing system. So I found a problem that we're gonna need to go ahead and solve, and that's the fact that we need nether quartz. Now I'm thinking we're gonna have to sift some either soul sand and or netherrack to go ahead and get that, because, well, we kind of need that for storage drawer controller for our setup over there for our auto, processing and all that fun stuff. But to make that, we are gonna need some netherrack. To make netherrack, what we're gonna need is a stone barrel like so. That's gonna need to be pumped with lava, and we're also gonna need to use some redstone in said thing to make the netherrack, right? So if I put this, I guess here, that should fill up with lava, and if I grab some of that redstone up there, I should be able to right click this and it should make netherrack, which it doesn't look like it's making netherrack. Okay, so how does one make netherrack in this pack? Right, block generators with lava and lava. I see. Witch water and a block of redstone with the lava. Okay, so witch water, I actually don't really know how we're gonna get that. So the witch water, I assume, is gonna be the same as it always is, which is we need to use the spores on some dirt to get that. To get witch water, what we're gonna have to do is take ourselves the mycelia spore like so, put it down like so, and then place the barrel on top like so, and then all we have to do is grab ourselves a bucket of water and place it in there, and then that will slowly transform into, you guessed it, witch water, which we can then use with a block of redstone with our material generator to go ahead and generate the netherrack that we need to go ahead and finally get ourselves the nether quartz that we need. With with the drawer controller, what we're gonna go ahead and do is slap it down right here like so. We're gonna go ahead and right click this guy, and I believe we're gonna need a different tool for this. Yes, we are going to need the linking tool, which hopefully we should be able to make relatively easily with our resources. That's just step one of this whole process, right? With our linking tool crafted, what we're gonna go ahead and do is come over to our drawer controller where this cow is currently standing on. We're gonna go ahead and click it, and we should, in theory, able to link these guys up to this drawer controller. What we're gonna go ahead and do is click on every single one of these drawers to go ahead and link it, and then once we do that, we should be able to click on the controller with the other tool, which is the configuration tool, to go ahead and lock all of these bad boys. And then what we can do is actually take ourselves the item pipes and connect it to the back of the drawer controller to go ahead and basically pump all of the stuff that's being generated in these things into this little setup right here. The next step to getting towards ore processing is going to require us to make a few things like the metallurgic infuser from the good old mechanism mod, because, well, to get into mechanism, we're gonna need steel. So we're gonna need the crusher from mechanism, of course, not the crushing factory, but that would be nice to have. The energized smelter is going to be our friend here, so let's go ahead and get those two things. But to get that, we're gonna need this steel casing, which is gonna require us to make some steel, and we already have the osmium. The glass isn't going to be a problem. These basic control circuits shouldn't be that bad. It's going to be osmium and redstone. A lot of this we already have. To get started, we are again going to have to make that beautiful looking metallurgic infuser. Now I am going to have to put these away for right now, and to get started, we're just going to need a little bit of cobblestone, of course, and we're also going to need a little bit of osmium. Don't know why I came over here, because all of my processed quote-unquote resources is actually inside of the pig right now, right? There we go. Let's grab the osmium. We're gonna need some iron, which I believe I put in here somewhere. If not, it's somewhere in my inventory. And we're gonna need some cobblestone to make some furnaces and a few other bits and bats. Alrighty, let's go ahead and make ourselves 3 or 4 of these guys. So we're gonna need the redstone, the coal, the diamond. We need one more for obsidian, so that should be all of the medical infusers that we need. Actually, you know what, we're gonna need an extra set, because the coal one is gonna need 2. So to set that up, we're gonna go ahead and set this up in a really awesome way. We're gonna need some power. I don't know what's going on with my trees, but that's a little weird. It's turning into ash, but let's go ahead and grab ourselves some power cables like so, and I guess we'll set this up right over here. Now we don't really have a battery, but like I said last episode when we were setting this up, I believe we should be able to get one once we set up the steel production from this. So I'm just gonna grab myself this guy, and I'm gonna move it right over here. And actually, you know what, we'll do it right here. This isn't where we're gonna do our ore processing, unfortunately, but yeah, this is where we're gonna currently set up our basic mechanism stuff. So it's gonna go the 2 coal ones like so, the redstone, and then the obsidian and the diamond like so. And then that should be everything that we need to go ahead and get things going. To get things going, I'm going to take some coal like so, and I'm going to toss a few pieces in here like so, and then I'm going to toss in 8 iron, which that's going to then go ahead turn into enriched iron, and then we turn that enriched iron into steel dust. So if we look at steel dust, it should be relatively simple to make in the energetic infuser here. If I can find it, it's this guy right here. 10 carbon and a enriched iron will make a steel dust, and the same thing here. So 10 carbon to 1 iron will make 1 enriched iron, and then we process that into steel. And then what we can go ahead and do is also take this and throw a few pieces in here like so, and then get that going, and then that's going to make the steel that we can then go ahead and process. With our very first set of steel acquired, what we're going to go ahead and do is hopefully get ourselves some sand here and potentially cook up some glass, because we're going to need it here, I believe, going into making the casings that we need for these machines. Let's start with making, I guess, the enrichment chamber, because the enrichment chamber actually plays a very important role here in a mechanism. So yeah, we're gonna need some glass for that. That's fine. We are gonna need some of these control circuits, which to make those are just gonna require you to grab some redstone and put it in your metallurgic infuser with some osmium. So we're gonna come right on over here. And like I said, this guy is going to be our redstone dude. I don't want to put too much in there, so I'll put that much in there for right now. And what we'll do is take some of our osmium and toss it in there. And then that should make the basic control circuits. Now do note that you can also make the alloys from mechanism using the redstone. Your very first alloy is going to be the infusion alloy from mechanism here, or infused alloy rather. And it's going to need copper and some redstone in this guy right here. Now that we've got everything that we need, all we have to do is make ourselves one of these machine casings, and I put all the osmium in there, but I believe I have some extra in here like so. And all we have to do now is make ourselves a very basic steel machine casing like so. And then we just need, would you guess it, 2 iron. I'm actually out of iron, unfortunately, and we should be able to go ahead and make our enrichment chamber. So let's go ahead and place that down. The enrichment chamber is going to allow us to essentially get more for our bang of our buck here, honestly, and make our setup a little bit more efficient. So for an example, I can go ahead and take my coal, throw it in the enrichment chamber like so, and what it's going to go ahead and do is make a item called enriched coal, I believe it's called here. So if we look, enriched tin, gold, obsidian, diamond, redstone, and carbon. And this guy, instead of giving us the normal 10 that it gives us, it will give us 80 instead of 10, or however many this actually gives. So it gives us like 8 times more of the stuff compared to what it normally would do, which is really nice. I am going to go ahead and process down a ton of iron, because we're gonna need a ton of steel actually going forward for mechanism. Okay, so we should now hopefully be able to go ahead and craft ourselves a crusher as soon as I get myself some more osmium, which I believe I have some stored in here. Beautiful. And then all we gotta do is get 2 buckets of lava, and I don't really have that. This is what happens when you turn all of your iron into steel like an idiot. There we go. We have 7 iron. Hopefully that's gonna be enough. It's not gonna be enough, because 6 of it is gonna go in. Actually, no, only 3 of it has to go into a bucket. Now I have 2 buckets. Perfect. And then let's go ahead and grab ourselves 2 buckets of lava. Luckily, we have infinite lava like so. And we're gonna take that guy and we're gonna make it into a crusher as soon as I get myself 2 of these bad boys like so. And then we're gonna make ourselves a crusher, and then we're also gonna make ourselves a energized smelter. But to do that, we are gonna need to take some redstone and throw it through our enrichment chamber, assuming that we don't have enough to make 2 more of those. And I believe that's just gonna be osmium. Yeah, we don't have quite enough redstone, but now we should have quite enough redstone to get that going. Okay, we should now hopefully be able to put down our energized smelter like so. Now I do actually want to take a quick little peek at installers, because if we can make the basic tier installer, oh, we can. We just need a little extra of these guys. So we just need, I believe, 2 of these. And of course, I'm being attacked by pesky phantoms. God, phantoms are the worst addition to Minecraft ever. Okay, so we should be able to go ahead and make 2 of these basic installers like so. Actually, we can probably even make, well, actually, you know what? We probably could make the advanced installer as well. I'm going to attempt to make this. So I need, let's see, 2, 4, 8 per one. I need 16 of these red alloys, which means I just need like 16 copper, which is actually not durable. Actually, we actually are within realm of making this. Okay, with everything acquired, let's go ahead and come over here and try and attempt to make these advanced circuits. We need 4 of them like so, and then we're going to take that and do that like that and that. So now we should have everything that we need to get this ore processing up and going, and all we have to do is, I guess I'm gonna slap it right here going this way, and that's the smelter. That's the second stage of what we want here. So let's break that down and move that one over like so, and then we're gonna go ahead and actually move this back this way because I'm gonna do it backwards. The smelter is gonna go right here on the drawer controller for now, and the crusher is gonna go right next to the smelter like so. I guess I don't have to realistically do that because I think this mod pack has the entangled blocks, if I can get my hands on that. Yeah, we do not have the entangled blocks. I thought we did, but we don't, but that's okay. We can just pipe into it. It's not that big of a deal. And all we have to do now is give this some power. And the way I'm gonna do that is coming up through here, and then we're also gonna come below here and we're gonna hook up everything that we need here. So to get this going, we're gonna need a few things, and one of those things is going to be a item pipe that routes from our drawer controller all the way over to our crusher. So we're gonna go ahead and come down here like so, and we're gonna route this guy right on over to our crusher like so. And what we're gonna go ahead and do is pick this up, and we are going to filter this advanced pipe upgrade that I made in between cuts, which is just taking basically the improved and upgrading it from the basic, which is relatively simple. It is quite expensive, but we are going to need it because we're going to want to filter all of these ores into this guy so that I can go ahead and go into the crusher. And we're going to install the installers by shift right clicking it onto each one of the machines like so. And then you're also going to do the same thing with the advanced ones as well. And make sure that you have auto split or auto sort on both machines, so that way it can go ahead and sort to these other inventory slots as well. What we're gonna go ahead and do is grab ourselves the air balloon again, place that bad boy down. We're gonna come right on down here, and we're gonna connect this bad boy to power for one. So we're just gonna run this cable. It doesn't have to run too far. Let me just grab all of this and run that this way. And we do gotta be careful because if we get too far from our air balloon thing, it will pop. So that's all powered now. Now the last thing that we have to do is come over here to our drawer controller like so, and what we're gonna go ahead and do is tell it to extract, and we're gonna go ahead and put our advanced item pipe upgrade in there, and we're gonna fill it with all of our ores that we want to filter out to get extracted into the crusher like so. And then let's also make sure that it's on round robin whitelist mode as well, and that's gonna go ahead and start to crush down all of these resources. Now it did get coal in there for some reason. We can go ahead and take that out, and hopefully now it will go ahead and get the ores out of here into here, and then that's gonna go ahead and get inputted onto here and outputted on the side like so. But for some reason it is not taking out the ores from the drawer controller, and I wonder why. It is connected to this. Ooh, is this not gonna work? Because if this is not gonna work, that's not gonna be good. It doesn't accept the ores. That's not ideal. Aha, I see. The enrichment chamber looks like the way to go here. Now here's my only question: can these all be enriched? I have a theory that I'm gonna test. I'm gonna take up this enrichment chamber and replace it for the crusher. I grabbed the wrong machine. Let me go ahead and grab this, and I think hopefully this should start to get everything that we need? Yes. So I am gonna have to make another set of the upgrades, unfortunately, but at least we know that we can get this going again. So I am gonna have to make more of those annoying pesky control circuits and an infused alloy. And just like that, we are now processing all of the ores that are in there nice and quickly. Now what we're gonna go ahead and do just temporarily is potentially, hopefully we have a little bit of extra iron. We can maybe potentially make an iron chest. Oh, look at all that iron I just found. Oh, that's beautiful. Oh, that's so beautiful. Okay, beautiful. We should now be able to make a iron chest if that mod is in this mod pack, which I hope it is. So at iron chests does look like it's not in the pack. We do have sophisticated chest here. So if I grab, oh yeah, I'm gonna make one of these special chests. Oh yeah, I forgot. Oh, this is gonna be annoying because it requires a darn redstone torch to make. I think I can have everything I need for that. So this guy and then one of these guys. It has to be something special always. There we go. Put the redstone torch in there like that, surrounded by that. And then I believe we should be able to make a quick and dirty upgraded chest like so and like so. And I wonder if I can actually make a diamond chest, because that would be lovely. And this is only temporarily gonna be a thing for us, because again, we're hopefully gonna be moving into a drawer system, but this is just a temporary fix for now. So let's go ahead and put that down like so. We have a nice little diamond chest like so, and we should be able to go ahead and slap that guy right next to this energized smelter like so, and then have all of that be outputted into here nice and lovely jovely. Unfortunately guys, we're out of time for today's episode of All the Mods 10 to the Sky. With that being said, if you guys did enjoy today's episode, please do me a huge favor, smash the like button, smash the subscribe button, ding dong that notification bell, and become a part of the Council of Elder. As always guys, I'm gonna love you, I'm gonna leave you till next time, where hopefully we can actually get some more progress towards that ATM star.